Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a very rainy, gray Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City virtual hearing on today, September 23rd, 2021. My name is Nicholas Blendy, and I am the Deputy Executive Secretary of the board, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today whenever Judge Matriciani is not ruling the roost. We have an outline for you that you can see on the screen of the things that I'm about to go over and that the board will be going over today. Moving along. We are operating virtually, as everyone can tell, on the Cisco Webex platform. Cisco Webex, Baltimore City is using to conduct all of its virtual meetings. The Board of Estimates uses it, the City Council uses it, and the Planning Department use it to hold virtual meetings since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. For some basics, Webex requires a laptop, iPad, computer, smartphone, or similar device that has camera and microphone capabilities to be fully utilized. And we note that if you do not have microphone capabilities on the same piece of technology that your video device is on, you can use a phone number to dial in and be heard while running your camera on the other device. To participate in a WebEx meeting, members of the public are required to download the WebEx app through their smartphones or click the link you can see on the screen to access the web page and do this hearing online. The access code and password are there on the screen. The board suggests that if you're going to use your smartphone or web access, that you have tested it out at least a day before today so that you minimize any potential hiccups that would occur. And if any member of the public doesn't have access to a computer, smartphone, or similar device and isn't watching on Charm TV, they can call the following number and enter the access code to listen only to today's hearing. All materials, evidence, and related items for today's docket are available on our website under the hyperlink for today's date, September 23rd, 2021. You can see the web link on the screen. All evidence during virtual hearings, the board observes a 48-hour rule. So any evidence that is to be considered today is available in the long docket on our website, and any party that wished to have submitted evidence must have submitted it no later than 11 a.m. this past Tuesday, September 21st, to our Assistant Executive Secretary, Ms. Russell. We are not in person, therefore are not accepting documents in person today. And in a related item, if there's any formal amendment to an application for any either the applicant or the representative, it needed to have been made before September 9th, 2021 for today. If someone is attempting to amend anything today, it will be automatically postponed. In addition to the posting of this docket online, which has been up for 14 days, all applicants and or their counsel has been mailed a letter instructing them on their date and time of today's hearing. The procedures for how today is going to go: I will read all preliminary instructions, which I'm doing right now, and the general ground rules. I will call the cases as in the order they are listed on today's short docket. I will then ask for the applicant and the attorney or other representative of the applicant to identify themselves. And if necessary, any applicant or supporting witnesses will need to be sworn in by our court reporter. The board will then provide an opportunity for the applicant and or their representative to present their case to the board. Board may ask questions of the attorney or the applicant. At the conclusion of that presentation, the chairman will ask any individual who's on the call and who has access to the necessary technology if they wish to testify in support or opposition to any of the applications. I will then ask the individuals on the attendee list to use the raise your hand feature, which is at the bottom of the WebEx application. And then I will acknowledge anyone who has raised their hand, and you'll be recognized. You'll be able to identify yourself, and then you'll be sworn in by the court reporter, and you'll be allowed to testify. We do note that anyone who testifies is subject to any questions that the board might wish to ask and cross-examination either by the applicant or their attorney, should they have an attorney. And again, a reminder, if you do not have video capabilities, you will not have the opportunity to testify. You must be able to be seen to be sworn in. After all testimony and evidence is presented to the board will then take a formal vote on the application before them. And then our assistant executive secretary will then read any exhibits into the record. We note that the board's not authorized to discuss non-case related matters today. They're sitting in their quasi-judicial capacity, and they're authorized solely to hear the matters that are on the docket before them and any testimony and evidence related to that. Moving on, some general ground rules. We ask that you please mute yourself when you're not speaking to minimize feedback and extra noise. We ask that, of course, when you're recognized, that you please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name before you speak. We ask that you please speak slowly and in a clear voice so that our court reporter can understand exactly what is being said and who is saying it. We note that this event is running live on Charm TV, and of course that we do have a court reporter present recording proceedings. Individuals who use profanity or are disrespectful or unruly may be expelled from today's hearing. All attendees, applicants, licensees, and members of the public that wish to provide testimony must be sworn, to reiterate. And there is no physical evidence that we are taking today. And absolutely, again, no amendments to an application can be made at today's hearing. Some Webex reminders. We ask that you please be prepared and have read the materials ahead of time and tested out your technology to make sure it's functional. We ask that you try to be in a very good location with good light, strong internet connection so that we can see you and hear you clearly. We ask that you please be present, meaning that you're not multitasking, you're focusing on the issues at hand and what's before us. And above all, please be patient with yourself and others. We like to think we do a good job, and we believe we do, but every now and then technology throws us some curveballs that we have to work through, so we ask for your patience. With that, the short docket is in front of you, Mr. Chairman. Any opening comments you wish to make?
Yes, I just want to begin today by welcoming a new commissioner to our board. Commissioner Reisinger joined us recently, and this will be his first public hearing with us, so we're glad to have him with us, and we look forward to working with him in the future. Let's get started.
All right. The first matter before the board today is applicant Mario Rafael Minor, Leonard Calvin Knight Jr., and Leonard Ryan Rice, uncorked at Poppleton LLC, trading as trade name pending. The premises is located at 101 North Schroeder Street, suite number 4, Baltimore, Maryland, 21223. This is an application to transfer ownership and location of a Class A beer and wine license that is presently located at 3000 Windsor Avenue to the new premises proposed at 101 North Schroeder Street, suite number 4. This is a continuation of a hearing from, I believe, September 2nd, 2021. The board continued this hearing after taking evidence and testimony for the purpose of the applicant to meet with a member of the neighborhood association and some neighbors. Ms. Hecker is counsel, and I am moving her and her clients into the room right now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, good morning. Ms. Hecker, will you identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin Greenberg on behalf of the applicant, and welcome, Councilman Reisinger. It's nice to see you here.
So do you want us to swear your clients, or are you just going to update us on what went on?
If it's okay with you, I'd like to just proceed by way of a proffer. I can have them testify if you'd like, but.
No, you may proffer.
Thank you. So as you may recall, this is an application to transfer a Class A beer and wine license from a non-conforming store to a new location in the Center West development in Poppleton. It's in the first floor of an apartment building adjacent to a Market Fresh grocer, and it's a space that's just under 500 square feet in size. We had met with several different community associations in advance of the hearing 2 weeks ago, but it turned out that one of the community associations appears to have sort of divided into 2 groups, and one of the groups we had not been aware of. When we met last time with the liquor board, we learned that one of those groups we obviously had not met with. They requested a meeting, and we attended their meeting last Thursday evening. We had a great discussion with them. It appears that there has been perhaps a history of poor communication with the overall developer of the project that has resulted in this one group feeling particularly marginalized. And we listened to a number of their concerns that relate to the project as a whole. And candidly, I understand where they're coming from. None of their concerns really related to the establishment of the beer and wine store at this location. And I'm pleased to report that at the end of the meeting, they took a vote and voted unanimously in support of the application. I don't know if their president, Sonia Edie, is present here today. I know she had been on the hearing last time, but if she is here, I'm hoping she can confirm what occurred. We look forward to being good neighbors and a valuable member of the community over there and opening the store as an amenity to all of the neighbors.
Okay, Mr. Blendy, is there anyone else who wanted to testify on this matter today?
I can say, Mr. Chairman, that Miss Edie is in the room, and she did swear oath at the original hearing. So I don't think she could still be under oath if you'd like me to move her in but she is here.
Please do.
Miss Edie, you're in the panel, and if your video is on, if you wish to say anything, just please turn your video on, and you're on mute right now if you wish to say anything.
Oh.
Miss Edie?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, that Miss Edie, I don't know if her video's on. I don't know if she wishes to speak, but she's in the room.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes,
Hello?
go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning. We lost you. Ms. Edie?
Agreed that we met with the lawyer and the applicants, and we decided that we will support because there was a lot of questions concerning the location and its future effects on the residents. We have requested a MOU on some of the issues that the questions that we had, a lot dealing with the parking and the deliveries, location, parking was still a concern. So that was basically the only issues that we had was to have a MOU written. And when I talked to Ms. Curlin afterwards, she's asked me what would the terms be. And so we never got a chance to write up the terms and have them signed. So we had a list of the terms, but we just not had the time to meet up with Ms. Curlin and have them signed over before today.
Okay, well, you can always submit that later. That's fine. If you reach an agreement, that's fine.
Okay.
Anything further, Ms. Edie?
No, that'll be all. Thank you.
Mr. Blendy, we have others who wish to comment?
If any other member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature. Mr. Chair, I don't see any other person who wishes to speak.
Do the commissioners have questions?
No question.
Commissioner Rice, do you have any questions?
No question.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, Ms. Hecker, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and the evidence and testimony received at our hearing on September 2, as well as the update that is received today and the support that you've received from this other Poppleton Association, and with the understanding that there may be an MOU coming in the future, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership and location of this Class A beer and wine license, presently located at 3000 Windsor Avenue to 101 North Schroeder Street, Suite 4. Commissioners?
I guess I will go next. Based upon the application, the proffer from Ms. Hecker, as well as the testimony from Ms. Edie, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership and location of this Class A license presently located at 3000 Windsor Avenue to 101 North Schroeder Street, Suite 4.
Yes, am I on?
Yes, you are.
Yes, I also support and approve the transfer and the ownership on this case, and also in the future regards to the MOU which will be brought forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Russell,
For there?
Ms. Russell, you have exhibits?
No exhibit, sir.
Okay. That should conclude it then, Ms. Hecker. Good luck to your clients.
Thank you very much.
That concludes this hearing before the board. This application for transfer of ownership has been approved preliminarily. Council and applicants will receive follow-up instructions via mail from this agency on how to complete the legal transfer, which must be done within 180 days of today's date. Mr. Chairman, are you ready for the next matter?
I am.
Allow me to do a little Webex housekeeping. The next item before the board today, applicants Bong Soo Ki and Kevin Fate White, number 1 KB Incorporated, trading as Slim's Liquors. Premises are located at 3214 Hollins Ferry Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21227. And this is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Counsel for this applicant is Mr. Jay Yu, and he has been moved into the panel. Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Yu, you want to identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. J.U. representing the applicants, Mr. Kevin White and Mr. Bong Soo Ki, who are the applicants who are present in my office this morning, if you can see them.
We can. Do you want to proffer this, Mr. Yu?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. If I may proceed, Mr. Ki was actually before the board on another transfer request, which transaction got terminated, so that deal never happened. But he's here today, again, trying to purchase this location, the 3214 Highlands Ferry Road, Slim's Liquors, which is in a commercial and industrial area. Mr. White will be the resident agent licensee. He's familiar with the rules and regulations for Baltimore City Liquor Board, and he's a person of good moral character. I did not find any criminal conviction or serious traffic convictions. Mr. Ki also, he has no priors, and he is trained and certified in alcoholic awareness program. He also, between the last transfer hearing, which deal that did not happen, in between those time and up until today, he actually got a job working at Irvington Liquors and gained himself 6 months of a training working in a liquor store and operating liquor store. So I believe he's experienced in operation of the liquor business as well. He's a person of good moral character, and he is fully aware of the rules and regulations. The hours of operation for the location will be from Monday through Thursday, 10 to 9. And on Friday and Saturdays, he intends to open from 10 to 10. I believe with that, the applicants are qualified, fit and proper to be qualified as licensees.
Will there be other employees handling alcohol?
Mr. Chi, are you planning on hiring any other employees?
Yeah,
How many employees are you planning on?
1 or 2.
He's presently planning on hiring 1 additional employee or perhaps 2, depending on how the business goes. But he does understand that all his employees who will be serving the customers will be certified in alcohol awareness training.
Okay, thank you. The commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Just the only question, Mr. Yu, is has there been any community outreach?
No, there has not been. This location is in a commercial/industrial area on the borderline of Baltimore County. I really did not locate any community association that I could contact. But if there is one, my client will be happy to reach out.
Right. Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you.
Ms. Blenny, do we have public comment on this?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who wishes to testify.
Thank you. Mr. Yu, based on the materials contained in the application and your proffer to us this morning, I vote to approve the application to transfer this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioner?
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Yu, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Yeah. Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Elizabeth for the record.
Thank you. That should do it then, Mr. Yu. Good luck to your client.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Your application to transfer ownership has been approved preliminarily, and you will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on what steps you must take in order to complete your legal transfer, which must be done within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chairman, are you ready for the next matter?
I am.
The next matter is also a client of Mr. Yu's, applicant Stephen Y. Park and Jean Thomas, SYP Incorporated, trading as Gen Liquors, 5303 to 05 York Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21212. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Yu is in the room, Mr. Chairman.
Would you please identify yourself, sir?
Good morning. Jay, you representing the applicant, Mr. Stephen Park, who's present in my office, and Ms. Jean Thomas, who is also present in my office.
Okay. You want to proffer?
Yes,
Mr. Yu?
Yes, thank you. This is a request for transfer of a Class A liquor license located at 5303 through 05 York Road. Ms. Jean Thomas will be the resident agent licensee, and Mr. Stephen Park will be the owner operator of the premises. Ms. Thomas is a current licensee, so she agreed to remain as the resident agent licensee, so she'll stay on the license. She's a Baltimore City resident, and she's previously qualified, but again, she has not incurred any criminal or serious traffic convictions since the last qualification. She still lives in Baltimore, and she plans to continue to live in Baltimore. She's familiar with the rules and regulations. She's a person of good moral character. Mr. Park, he has a 9-year experience operating a grocery business in Baltimore City, and now he's trying to move into the liquor business. He is planning on operating the business with his mother. She will not be on the license, but she has experience operating liquor business 20 years ago. So she'll help him out. But Mr. Park is certified in alcohol awareness training, and he did sign an MOU with the community. I believe Mr. Pontius is present to testify in this matter. So with that, I'll conclude my proffer.
Mr. Yu, are the applicants willing to have the terms of the MOU be a condition of their license?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And did you say that there's someone here from the association?
Yeah, there is a member here who will want to testify, Mr. Chairman.
All right, well, let's swear him in, okay?
David Pontius, you've been moved into the panel.
Thanks. Can you hear me and see me?
Can hear you, and yes, I can see you. Would the clerk please swear Mr. Pontius in, please?
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Thanks. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Pontius. What would you like to tell us?
Good morning. So my name is David Pontius, representing Councilman Mark Conway, also here on behalf of the community. And some background, I understand that previously there's been a good relationship between the establishment and the community thanks to a memorandum of understanding. And we're pleased to see that that has been re-signed by the new owners. And given that, the community and our office is in support of the transfer. And we would also like to see, as I believe you just covered, that the MOU be incorporated into the lease or into the license.
Thank you. Commissioners have any questions for Mr. Yu or Mr. Pontius?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have any further public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any other member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. No further members of the public, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Yu, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application, your extensive proffer with respect to this application, and Mr. Pontius's testimony in support of it, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, subject to the terms of its memorandum of understanding with the Woodburn McCabe Neighborhood Association and York Road Partnership, to the extent that those terms are enforceable by law. Commissioners?
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Yu, the testimony from Mr. Pontius, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent it's enforceable by law.
My on?
Yes.
Thank you. Based on the testimony provided today, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership, also with the MOU being added to the license.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Echo exhibits for the record. Exhibit number 1, MOU between applicants and Woodburn McCabe Neighborhood Association and York Road Partnership.
Okay. Mr. Yu, congratulations to your clients. I hope this goes well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That concludes this hearing before the board. Applicants have received preliminary approval today. They will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer, and that must happen within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move forward?
We are. Thank you.
And as I keep house. The next item on today's docket before the board is applicant Terry M. Jefferson and Cameron Jefferson, City Escape Bar and Lounge, LLC, trading as City Escape Bar and Lounge. Premises are located at 2213 to 15 Kirk Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21218. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. And Mr. Fogelman, I believe, is councilman on this matter, and I am moving him in, and as well as his client, who is not in the room with him, and they are in the panel, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Fogelman. Will you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants in this matter. Preliminarily, I would just like to say that I have called him councilman, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice President, and it is the greatest honor to call him Commissioner Reisinger. So welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Fogelman, you going to proffer this, or do we need testimony?
I will. I'll be happy to. In another video screen is Terry and Cameron Jefferson. Mr. Cameron Jefferson, otherwise known as CJ, is serving as a city resident in this matter. It is a family affair. Terry Jefferson wants to take over the bar that's been around for a very, very long time near the East Baltimore Midway neighborhood, a few blocks from 25th Street, a few blocks from North Avenue, a few blocks from the district court out there at 1400 East North Avenue. Ms. Jefferson, although not possessing any long-term experience in the industry, she's been employed as an engineering contractor. She worked for the Baltimore County government and even the detention system there for some time. It's always been a dream of hers to have a restaurant. She's very excited about the food. The bar has a good relationship with the surrounding neighbors in general. I don't remember too many problems with this place. and she will be alcohol management certified, as will her manager. She will spend about 25 to 30 hours a week on site, most of that involved in the food side. So I have explained to her, and she already knows, that this board takes underage drinking and other violations very, very seriously, and she's going to make sure that she's fully compliant with the rules and regulations of the agency.
And Mr. Fogelman, back in 2019, they were cited several times for sales to minors, so she needs to be particularly careful at this location.
That's good to know. Yeah, I was not aware.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature on the Webex platform. I do not see any member who wishes to testify, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fogelman, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Thank you.
Yes. I also move to support the application to transfer ownership of the Class BD7 for beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Thank
you. No exhibits for the record.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fogelman. Good luck.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board, which this application to transfer ownership was preliminarily approved. Licensee and their counsel, or applicant and their counsel, will receive follow-up instructions via mail on what steps are needed to legally complete the transfer, which must occur within 180 days of today's hearing by law. Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move to the next matter?
Yes, sir.
And the next item before the board today, applicant Rabin Silwal and Hang Yang's LLC, trading as Broadway Liquor. Premises are located at 1645 East Baltimore Street, Baltimore, Maryland 21231. This is an application to transfer ownership and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages for a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Hurdle is counsel for this, and I believe Mr. Silwal is in the room, but I cannot make him a panelist for some reason. But I do note that he is here. Mr. Yang, or Miss Yang, I don't know, being presumptuous. Hang Yang is in the room as well.
Mr. Hurdle, do you want to identify yourself for the record, please?
Abraham Hurdle, on behalf of Yang's LLC. I believe both of my clients have called in, and I believe they've called in separately. I would like to proffer, if that's possible.
You may. Go ahead.
This is an in-location membership-only transfer. We are transferring 50%, which the board has in the past interpreted as considered a majority and therefore cannot be done at renewal, which is the purpose for our hearing and application today. Mr. Rabin, who has been an employee there for over a year, is taking on an ownership responsibility and membership, and he will be joining the group. He will be certified with alcohol awareness. Miss Hannah, or Hang Yang, she is TAM certified. She will continue to operate the business. The business will not change in any determinable way as far as I can tell, besides there being now a new member / half owner of the entity.
So, Mr. Hurdle, how many people are members of the LLC?
Just the two. Well, there's two if this is approved. So I believe Hannah is the sole member as of today at 100% interest, and Mr. Rabin will be a 50% owner in theory this afternoon.
Okay. And they've had this license since when?
I think like 3 years. I think I did the transfer a while back is my recollection. I don't have the paperwork right necessarily in front of me, but that's my recollection. I know that I handled the transfer for them previously. For Miss Hannah.
The location had some sales to minor violations back in 2017 and before that, but it might have been before this licensee.
I believe that it was before this licensee. I don't, again, let me take a look. It appears that maybe the transfer occurred roughly in June of 17, and then it looks as if those issues occurred sometime shortly thereafter, but they have been, for the most part, on the up and up since then, including it appears to be a letter of recognition. And I would chalk that up to just kind of new ownership issues. I anticipate that will not be occurring anymore. Yeah.
We'll just impress upon them that it is a concern of ours, okay?
Absolutely.
The commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have public comment on this, Mr. Blendy?
Does any member of the public wish to testify on this matter before the board? Please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I don't see anyone who wishes to testify.
Mr. Hurdle, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application as well as your proffer, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership, 50% ownership in this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioner?
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Hurdle, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, I also support application to transfer ownership regards to the beer, wine, and liquor license and the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, Mr. Hurdle, thank you. Good luck to your client.
Thank you, Chairman.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Application to transfer ownership and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages of this license has been preliminarily approved. Applicant and council will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer, which must occur within 180 days by law. Mr. Chairman, are we ready for the next matter?
We are.
Mr. Hurdle, I believe, is counsel also in this case. The next matter before the board, applicant Samir Prajapati and Stephanie Popescu, Kasha Incorporated, trading as Mall Spirits. Premises are located at 6630 Reisterstown Road, Baltimore, Maryland, 21215. This is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Chairman.
Counsel, identify yourself again, please.
Abraham Hurdle, on behalf of Kosha Inc., trading as Mall Spirits at 6630 Reisterstown Road. With me is Mr. Prajapati. Ms. Popescu is unable to attend today. She is an existing licensee on this license and has been so, I believe, for in the neighborhood of 2 years as of today.
Okay. You're going to proffer this as well?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is another in-location, non-corporate change, just a membership change. In this case, it's an interest change because it is a corporation instead of a LLC. Mr. Prajapati, who has been working there for roughly 7 months, is taking over the entire interest of the corporation. He will be, or is already TAM certified. We will verify that. Mr. Stephanie, who has been helping out with some of the office work and on occasion when needed, will continue to do that. The operations of the business will not change in any capacity whatsoever. This is a location located at the back of the Reisterstown Mall near the food court. For anybody who's unfamiliar with it, they had some difficulty during COVID when there were closures, but now they seem to be operating at a pretty good chat. We hope that they continue to do so. I don't believe they've had any violations in the recent past and anticipate they will continue that trend.
Yeah, I don't see any record of violations either. Okay, the commissioners have questions?
No, no question.
No questions.
Do we have public commentary on this, Mr. Blendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chairman, I don't see any member of the public wishing to testify.
Okay. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application and the proffer from Mr. Hurdle, I vote to approve the application transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Hurdle, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Yes, I support the application to transfer ownership with the Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, Mr. Hurdle, good luck to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I think Mr. Melvin will be joining us in a moment.
Okay.
That concludes this matter before the board today. The board has preliminarily approved this application. Council and applicant will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on how to legally complete the transfer, which must occur within 180 days by law. Mr. Chairman, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
The next matter before the board today is applicant Domenico Santino Di Pasquale. Di Pasquale's Brewers Hill LLC, trading as Di Pasquale's Italian Market, 3700 Toon Street, Unit G, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license, requesting outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Kadensky is counsel, Mr. Chairman, and is in the room.
Good morning. Would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Jay Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing the applicant who's here with me. And he has a character witness with him, Mr. Will Bauer, aka Lou Catelli, that's been helping him out here. And I could proffer if the board were like.
You can. So this operation has been ongoing. They're just seeking a liquor license now. Is that correct?
Right. And that license was created by statute by the legislature in order for them to have the Class B license at that address. There was a license there previously, but it expired, and of course they couldn't move a license in there. They have a MOU with the neighborhood, a letter of approval from the neighborhood. It's operating now, but it doesn't have a liquor license. They have the requisite seats. They have the capital investment, which they'll approve to the board. And right now their hours of operation are surely shortened at this point due to not being able to receive service, but they will be going full-time 7 days a week. They will have everybody certified alcohol-wise. The applicant has his certification here for alcohol awareness. His experience has been, he had worked at the other Di Pasquale's ever since he was young. And so he has plenty of experience in the business. He's familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board, and he will also participate with the community, any of the community meetings that they may have.
And is he willing to have the terms of the MOU be part of his license?
Yes, he is. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, he is.
Commissioners have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, please.
My question is they're also requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering and also delivery of alcoholic beverages.
That's correct. I said the previous owner had that, and it's nowadays with the COVID and so forth, that's very important.
Okay, thank you.
Anything from you, Commissioner?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. Do we have public comment, Mr. Glendy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. Mr. Chair, I don't see anybody who wishes to testify.
All right, Mr. Kadensky, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, as particularly with respect to the MOU with the Brewers Hill Association, on the basis of all that, I vote to approve the application for this new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service, off-premises catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, all subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law. Commissioners?
It's always nice to see Mr. Bauer. Based upon Mr. Kadensky's proffer and the application before us, I too would vote to approve the new Class B license with outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages, subject to the memorandum of understanding with the Brewers Hill Association to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Yes. I also support the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Also with the request for outdoor table service, off-premise catering, delivery of alcoholic beverages, and subject to the MOU. Thank you.
Ms. Bauer.
Exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from Brewers Hill Neighborhood Association, dated 8/17/21. And Exhibit number 2, MOU between applicants and Brewers Hill Neighborhood Association.
Thank you. Mr. Kadensky, thank you. Good luck to them.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Great to see you guys.
Oh,
too.
Mr. Kudensky, can I get the name of the spelling for Mr. Bauer?
Bauer, Bauer. Bauer.
Okay.
Or you want
Okay,
the
and the first
Lucatelli
name?
part?
Um,
That's okay.
that, that's okay. And then his first name again?
Will.
Okay, great.
I
Thank
think his
you.
mom calls him William, though.
Only I'm in trouble, William Edward. I get a lot of trouble then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
That concludes the comedic sideshow and this matter before the board. Applicants received preliminary approval from the board. It will receive follow-up instructions from this agency with how to legally complete the transfer or obtain the new liquor license, and that must occur within 180 days of today by law. Mr. Chairman, are we ready for the next matter?
We are.
It is also a client of Mr. Kudensky's. The next matter before the board, licensees are Richard Ellis Kraft Jr. and Edward Popescu, Guilford Brewing LLC, trading as Guilford Hall Brewing. Premises are located at 1611 Guilford Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. These licensees already hold a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license at this location. This hearing is a request to add live entertainment on the second floor of their premises. I'm moving the applicants into the panel, and Mr. Kudensky is counsel, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, would you identify yourself again, please, Mr. Kudensky?
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky, 320 North Charles Street, representing the licensees and applicants.
You want to have them testify, or are you going to proffer?
Well, I'm going to proffer for the situation is this was a new license that was granted there to the Guilford Brewing LLC. They're up and operating. What they were requesting now at this time is a live entertainment. They went through a lengthy process of getting together with the community. They've had zoning hearings that were contested, to be honest about it. And the zoning board approved that the zoning resolution is attached to the application. What was maybe not so clear was the MOU. There's an agreement between the new Greenmount West Community Association, Inc. and Guilford Brewing LLC concerning the terms and conditions of the live entertainment. And they would, of course, request that to be part of the record, as it is part of the zoning approval. And if you want, the pertinent parts of it is that the applicants shall now allow live entertainment outside the following hours: Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. And then there can't have any third-party persons and so forth. There's some letters that were submitted recently of their approval. On the situation here, Mr. Kraft is in the room. Mr. Popescu is actually got caught up flying here. But this is a request for live entertainment.
Okay, so it's my understanding that with respect to the zoning issue, that's been appealed into the courts. It's also my understanding that we have before us one letter of opposition from Mr. Crandall and a letter of support from the Chamber of Commerce. Do I have all that correct?
That's correct. And the appeal was heard by the circuit court, and the appeal was denied. So that we're in good shape there. There was been a further appeal to the Court of Special Appeals, but that'll be pending for quite some time. And they understand, of course, if the Court of Special Appeals would rule otherwise, then of course advise both the zoning and the liquor board.
Right. Okay. Do we have any other testimony, Mr. Bundy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify, please use the raise your hand feature in the Webex platform. I do see I see one hand up, two hands up. I'm going to go ahead and ask everyone who is in, I'm going to unmute you and make sure that you all want to testify. I do see both Louis Linden and Nancy Linden wish to testify. Do Carol Higgs or Robert Levine or Levine wish to testify?
Yes, I do. Carol Higgs.
Okay. Robert Levine, do you wish to testify?
I'm not sure yet.
Well, if you'd like to testify, you're gonna have to swear. So I think the judge would prefer, if you're at least thinking about it, to come swear your oath. So,
Okay, well,
all right, I'm gonna move all four of these individuals in, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's get them sworn.
They're all in, ma'am.
Okay, if you can just turn on your videos. Um,
I'm sorry, I can't turn on my video. I'm on a laptop without a camera. My main computer had a hard disk crash last night, so I can't give you video. This is Lou Linden.
okay. All right. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's
Still
swear him
want-
in.
Okay. All right. Please raise your right hand. Okay. Please raise your right hand. Everyone that needs to be sworn, Ms. Higgs,
Sorry.
thank you. That's okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And then if you can just say your name before your response. Mr. Linden.
Louis Linden, I do.
Okay. Ms. Higgs.
Carol Higgs, I do.
Okay. Ms. Linden.
Nancy Linden, I do.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question before we hear testimony?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we've got them all sworn. Is that everybody?
Oh, and then, I see a
I'm
Robert
sorry.
Levine.
Yes.
Did Robert Levine need to be, did you have your hand raised? Your video was off as well.
I can't figure out how to turn it on.
Okay. Okay. All right. And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Green.
Yeah, Mr. Kudinski, could you just explain to us what kind of live entertainment? I note in the application it says DJ and SM bands. But can you tell us what kind of live entertainment the applicant is seeking?
Well, it'd probably be better if the applicant may be able to fill you in on that, because I know he's in the room. If he could, because I know it's pretty much light entertainment, but I'd like him to explain that to the board.
Let's swear him in.
Okay. Is that Mr.
Kraft?
Popescu?
It's Mr. Kraft.
Okay, Mr. Kraft. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kraft, can you answer Commissioner Greenfield's question?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of a DJ, we do have a speaker system upstairs, but we do expect anyone that is performing any live entertainment to have their own sound system. So in terms of, I mean, a DJ, they would plug in and have their own speakers, or light acoustic music to have live entertainment to feature local bands or I mean, individuals in the neighborhood, and really just having that live entertainment aspect to bring some of that to this community, similar to like the Fells Point area where there is artist presence.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go to the public commentary. Mr. Linden, what did you want to tell us?
Yes, sir. First of all, we would encourage the board not to issue this license until the zoning matter is resolved. It simply makes no sense if you wind up with a contradiction, then you have to come back and amend the liquor license again. Secondly, I would point out that the MOU of which Mr. Kudinski speaks sets a limit for sound. The the applicants had an event on Saturday, the 18th, which is described in a letter to the board by Laurie Ferrara, one of our residents. During that performance, the sound as measured by a decibel meter in her living room, was more than 9 times that allowable by the MOU. The MOU clearly states that the brewery will not emit a sound louder than 55 decibels. She recorded at peak over 84 decibels, which is 9 times. It's logarithmic, of course. Mr. Crandall sets out very well in his letter the physics and the math involved. I find it difficult to believe that this board would issue a license, knowing that at the very beginning, the applicants have failed to keep their promises in the MOU, which will put us continually in the position of having to monitor the sound. 84 decibels is the sound of a noisy restaurant. The fact of it is, when he was measuring the sound, as she got closer to her windows, which were closed, the sound got louder. The sound's not coming through the wall, the sound is coming through the windows. The second floor is surrounded by windows, and they're membranes. That means that they are speakers. They vibrate and they transmit sound. And in this case, obviously the sound they transmitted had to have been above 84 decibels, because 84 decibels was the maximum recorded inside Lori's living room, which she describes as intolerable. I did not see in the papers involved in the application any contract for parking. Now, it's my understanding from the various applications to the zoning board that they're anticipating as many as 355 patrons.
Mr. Linden, not before us.
Sir?
That issue's not before us. We're just asked to add live entertainment to their license. The zoning board issues are not before us. So,
right. Well, my point is that for every 200 people, there are going to be 100 automobiles.
Understood that, but that's not an issue before this board. Do you have anything else?
Basically, we created a PUD in 2003 in response to the problems that were created by live entertainment raves that were going on then in the Copycat building and other places in the neighborhood. And we were supported in that effort by the, excuse me, by the city council. We really do not want to see that happen again. We don't want what happened in Lower Fells Point be happening here in Greenmount West. Basically, that's what we have to say.
Mr. Canetti, you have questions for Mr. Linden?
No, my only comment is there's a certificate of occupancy that's already been issued by the zoning department permitting this use. So I think some of those arguments are moot at this point. No further questions.
Okay. Ms. Higgs, what did you have to say?
Well, my concern, first of all, I'm an original owner, investor in the Cork Factory, so that's 97. And when we worked on the PUD, it was very clear that we set up that the entertainment part of the zoning was to be at east of Charles and Calvert
Ms.
Streets.
Higgs, I didn't interrupt you, but you understand the zoning issues are not before this board.
I understand, but if I could just list my concerns, please.
Well, not
So
about
our neighborhood is, excuse me, our neighborhood, I'm sorry.
I said, excuse me, we're not here to hear zoning issues. Do you have anything about the live entertainment?
I understand. I was only explaining my position. Basically, Greenmount West, for those who don't know it, is all neighborhood. We have a school across from the brewery. You have a church across from the brewery. And 90% of our neighborhood is residential. We have 2 businesses, 2 schools actually, small businesses. We're a nonviolent neighborhood, and I believe that having live entertainment like one sees in Fells Point brings more crime, more vandalism, certainly more noise, as Lou pointed out, and more trash, and definitely more drug dealing, which we dealt with in earlier years. And our neighborhood now is in good shape. And I would like to keep it in good shape. I would also like to point out that the memorandum from the Community Association, it just should be noted that Greenmount West has 21,000 people, and the Community Association has 80 members. So if we were able to pool or canvas, because of COVID, it's hard to do, we would find many layers of opposition to having live entertainment and the possibility of increased crime. The other concern I have is the crossroads. Guilford Brewery is on Guilford. You have a crossroad of East Federal, and there are often accidents there. So safety is another issue.
Okay, Nancy, do you have any questions?
No questions.
All right, Ms. Linden, what did you have to add?
Hi, are you hearing me? Okay, the brewery has done a really beautiful job of restoring the building, and I wish them well with the restaurant and brew pub. But a large entertainment value will be will be detrimental to our neighborhood. As we saw Saturday night when they had a small concert up there, I don't think it's going to be possible for them to control their sound level to the degree specified in the MOU, the 55 decibels, at least not without extensively more soundproofing. Also, with their hours running of live entertainment running until midnight or 2 a.m. And if people are drinking in that entertainment venue, they're going to be leaving having drunk, and perhaps maybe drunk on the streets, perhaps can be maybe riotous, disruptive on the street, and will very likely be getting into their cars and driving away. So for that reason, I don't think there should be liquor up there. I don't think that the venue is appropriate at all, but certainly not with alcohol. It's a neighborhood of residences, artist studios, 2 schools, and light industry. A brewery and brew pub fit into that scheme quite nicely, and good restaurant is welcome. But a large entertainment venue does not, and we fear that it may be the first step in making our neighborhood into a hammerjack situation like Fells Point has become, where crime has had a steep increase. Please do not approve this license change.
Ms. Cadency, you have questions?
No questions.
All right, Mr. Levine, what do you have to add?
Well, I'd like to echo actually what the other 3 people have said. But in addition, because I've been here probably longer than all of them, I saw the contrast in the neighborhood when it was kind of an active social neighborhood at night. There was crime, there was noise. It was almost impossible for people with young children, with other people who got up to work to get to sleep at night. They weren't venues like this. There were more battles of boomboxes and raves that went to 4 in the morning. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was the parking was mentioned. Just in the little time that the brewery's been open, there's been frequent times when car alarms have been going off and not being stopped. I'm not sure what to do about that in the best of circumstances, but with this type of situation, that's going to increase. The other thing is that if you look at the tree pits on Federal Street, which is a cross street, all the tree pits are clean. You look at the tree pits in front of the brewery, it's filled with trash. So that's another issue that concerns us, is the quality of life that we've tried to change over time. So that's all I really have to say. I've said it at other hearings, and sometimes it's listened to, sometimes not.
Mr. Cadency, you have questions?
No questions.
All right. Do you want to sum up, Mr. Cadency?
Yeah, appreciate that there were some people, and I think if you look at the resolution that was given by the zoning board, it was very, very long and somewhat contentious to the thing, but the applicant in this case has made a really considerable investment in the area. The building, they've done improvements, and they really were well received by many people, and they understand that if the board grants them the live entertainment, they are subject to the rules and regulations and subject to any violations that may come up and that could jeopardize their right to have live entertainment.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Yes. First of all, I just want to concur with the chair that this is not a zoning issue, but and some of the testimony with regards to issues of violations which have to be enforced. But the main question I have is clarity is that when they have on the second floor live entertainment, are they going to be subcontracting to any other venues or companies? Because I've seen in the past as a council person, we have live entertainment and then they go on social media advertising for people from outside to come in and do the live entertainment. Can you address that?
Yeah, Commissioner, if you look in the MOU, the applicant, or which is the licensee, should not engage or allow any third-party promotion events. So that was addressed in that, and that was one of the concerns. I understand what you're saying, but they addressed that in the MOU that they would not allow or engage any third-party promoter events.
Yeah, I just wanted, Mr. Chair, I just wanted clarity for public view on that statement.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Greenfield, have anything?
Yeah, just, the other point I would raise is in the MOU, getting to I believe it was Mr. Linden's point, if there is a complaint for loud music or other disruption, the idea under the MOU is that they would take that immediately to the licensee's manager to address that. The other point is that we have inspectors that can proactively be on the lookout for the loud noise. But it seems to me that the incident that Mr. Linden described, which is of concern to me, appears to be addressed in the MOU. Isn't that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay. Anything further?
Nothing further.
Okay. Mr. Konecki, on the basis then the materials contained in the application, your proffer, and all the testimony received today, in my judgment, a lot of the issues that were raised by the opponents should have been raised before the zoning board. They're not before us. This license has been in place under the liquor board for some time without violations, as far as I can see. The zoning board has approved this subject to an MOU, and we have no violations. So I see no reason to oppose it, and I'd vote to approve the addition of the live entertainment to the license at this time. Commissioners? Commissioners?
Yes, I support the application for the Class B beer, wine, and liquor, and request to add live entertainment on the second floor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Greenfield.
And based upon the application and the testimony from both sides, I too would agree to add live entertainment to the second floor, subject again to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
Exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, 6 emails of opposition from community. Exhibit number 2, letter of support from Chamber of Commerce. 3, letter of support from community. 4, MOU between applicants and New Greenmount West Community Association.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Konecki.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board today. The board has preliminarily approved this request. Applicant and council will receive follow-up instructions on what steps need to be legally taken to complete adding live entertainment to the current license, which must occur within 180 days by law. Mr. Chairman, are we ready for the final item before the board?
We are.
The ninth and final item on the board today is applicant James Randall Biss Jr. and Alana Marie Ruiz, Mi Canton Incorporated, trading as Mi Canton Restaurant, 2629 Washington Boulevard, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. This is an application to transfer ownership and requesting off-premises catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Kadensky is counsel on the case, Mr. Chairman.
Would you identify yourself one more time?
Melvin J. Kadensky, 320 North Charles Street. If you can, I have both of the applicants here. I could proffer that it's the same corporation. What had happened before is that the party that was on the license had asked to be removed from the license, which we're doing now. The person has the 99% ownership, or 98% is Mr. Heaver Ruiz, who's here out of camera range. And Alana is his daughter who works in the restaurant there. He works 4 or 5 days a week and is familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. The location has, they've had the license there now, at least now for several years on the case. And in this case, Mr. James Bliss, to my left, probably your right, has been a resident of the area, serves as the licensee, being the city resident in the case.
Okay, so I'm sorry. The corporation is changing ownership interest. Is that what you were saying?
Right, that's correct. The other 98% of the stock still stay in the name of Mr. Heaver Ruiz. The other 2%, 1% to Mr. Bliss and 1% to Alana, Mr. Heaver Ruiz's daughter.
Okay. And were they before us a few months ago with COVID violations?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think so. Among a lot of other people.
I understand. Okay, it's just, and they're back in business these days?
Oh, yeah, they're starting to get everything together, and it's just tough. And I know Commissioner Reisinger is familiar with the Washington Boulevard area, but they have a full-fledged restaurant there, and they're being accepted by the community fairly well.
Okay. All right. Do the commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yes. I just want to, what I want to ask is, Mr. Kadensky, or the applicant, have you met, I know it's virtual and they just started in person, the Moore Park Community Association meetings. Has there been communication with the Community Association?
I really am not sure, because I know that one time they reached out. I think the lady's name was her name Carol. Something used to be at
Yeah, she's no longer there. They have a new.
I know that, and I think that somebody got back to them and said they were going to try to get to them, but as far as I know, that they haven't had any problems there either with them. They would agree to, if they would be invited to go to their community meeting, if somebody would send them a notice.
I would appreciate it.
Actually, Commissioner Reisinger, we have a community liaison, Matt Ockheimer, and he can facilitate that. So we'll ask Matt to take a look at it.
All right.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anything further? Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendy?
Does not appear so, but if any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature. Mr. Chairman, I don't see anyone.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kadensky, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer and the other evidence before the board, I vote to approve this application to transfer this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with off-premises catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Kadensky, I too would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Yes, I also support the application to transfer ownership, requesting off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Thank you.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Kadensky. Good luck to them.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Blendy, does that complete our docket?
That concludes this matter before the board today, which has received preliminary approval. Applicant and licensee will receive follow-up instructions from this agency on how to legally complete this request before the board within 180 days as required by law. And yes, Mr. Chairman, that is the final item on this docket. If you have any further comments or want me to read the adjournment.
No, you can go ahead.
The board will be in recess until next Thursday, September 30th, 2021. The board shall post on its website and provide notice to all applicants and or attorneys and conduct a virtual hearing on its date. In fact, all of that information is already available on our website. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns that you have on one of these matters or any other. And that is all we have for the board today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bundy. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you to our staff and all those who participated today. And we will see you on September 30th. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Off the record.
Off the record.